Bhagavad Tattva, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Bhagavatam 10th canto.
Sure.
Yeah.
Not mentioned anywhere else.
No, Prabhu. 10th canto full about Krishna from the birth. It is mentioned, Prabhu.
Anybody else has any different answers? Shreya? Interestingly, the entire Krishna Lila is summarized by Sukadeva Goswami in 2 verses, not in 10th canto. That is why how Krishna appeared. So when we are preparing our consciousness for Janmashtami, it is very important to know how Bhagavatam describes about Krishna's appearance. Unless we know that, unless we know what was the mood of Parikshit Maharaj, unless we know what was the context, Krishna is not some cheap thing. Krishna is not so easy that anything we do and Krishna, we can get Krishna. We can continue to do what we like and still we'll expect that Krishna will appear. It's not going to happen. So the 45 minutes to 1 hour that we have, I thought it is very important to have the context. How can Krishna appear in my heart? If that is what we want seriously, then we need to know the process. And the process is explained very clearly, very simply in Bhagavatam. So unless we know that, unless we understand how Krishna appeared or what made Sukadeva Goswami speak, there are a lot of nuances in that. So this 45 minutes, let's pay attention to those subtle nuances. I'll share my screen, and this is something very, very interesting to see from Bhagavatam itself, from the pages of Bhagavatam. Of course, we would have read from Krishna book, but Bhagavatam, those verses are so beautiful and so wonderful they are, that the moment you see them and understand even a little, you see how much of nectar, how much of juice is there in. This is 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Last chapter, interestingly, if you don't know, the last chapter of 9th canto is entitled as Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Why I am saying the context is so important, because this moment when Krishna appeared, and if you see the wonderful description of Bhagavatam, see, we would have always heard Prabhupada criticizing the professional reciters, because the professional reciters have the tendency to jump into the 10th canto without understanding the first 9 cantos. So that means even a professional reciter knows how much of nectar is there in 10th canto. So then imagine if devotees like us, whose life, whose our aim, our goal, our ambition in life is to become Krishna conscious, is to have Krishna in our heart, how much careful and attentive we should be when we are hearing or reading Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto. So that is why the chapter just before 10th canto is very important, because the title of this chapter is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Interestingly, this 9th canto, actually what Sukadeva Goswami is describing before talking about Krishna is the Sun dynasty and the Moon dynasty. So many devoted kings, their names, their activities are very vividly described. So 9th chapter also, sorry, this 24th chapter also has got so many names. Vidarbha had 3 sons named Kusha, Kratha, Romapada, their sons, grandsons, Babruhu, Krithi, Ushika, Chedi, Chaitya. Like that, he's going on talking about the different kings' names, which is there. They are worth knowing. But what is happening is, understand the context. A king who's a devotee, who's protected by the Lord in the mother's womb, is seated for no fault of his, being cursed, and 7 days time he has, 9 cantos of Bhagavatam are over. Sukadev Goswami is also concerned and anxious. What is going to happen? Can he really hear? Or is he capable of hearing? And he also wants to hurry because how much of time is remaining, nobody knows. And mind you, Sukadev Goswami, when he's narrating this, Parikshit Maharaj is not eating, not even drinking water. He's sitting there. So imagine if you're sitting here, 1 hour, 10 minutes, 1 hour, 15 minutes. After that, क्या हो रहा है bro? ठीक है, आपको बोलने का इच्छा है, मगर हम तो इतना नहीं सुन सकते हैं. And mind you, another interesting angle here is, it's not just Parikshit Maharaj. You can always say that Parikshit Maharaj, he was anyway cursed to die. So he has to listen. But the sages, they had no curse. So, okay, Parikshit, you continue hearing. We'll go. Thoda bhojan dalte aate hain. Okay, Parikshit, continue to hear. I'll just sleep. Or I'll just take rest. I'll come back. They are also eagerly waiting to hear what Sukadev Goswami is narrating. No eating, no drinking. And as I said, 9 cantos are already over. Bhagavatam has got 335 chapters. Bhagavad Gita has got 18 chapters. And out of that, 10th canto has got the highest, 90 chapters. So the 90 chapters of Bhagavatam is going to be explained by Sukadev Goswami. I better understand what is the position of the recipient, the receiver. If I just go on telling, here 5 minutes goes, the situation, even for people to attend Bhagavatam is not easy. How can somebody hear about Bhagavatam with so rapt attention, so much of eagerness? So very interestingly, as I mentioned that, this chapter talks about so many verses about different kings. How does the transition happen when Sukadev Goswami transitions to Krishna? That is interesting to know. In 9th canto, the last chapter, actually he'll say, Sukadev Goswami will say that there's Vasudev, all this, their brothers, who's their wives, all these things are mentioned. And then somewhere he'll say, the 8th son, no, this is also not. Here he starts. Yada yada hi dharmasya shayo briddhischa papmanah tada tu bhagavan isha atmanam srijate harihi. Similar to yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharat. Yada yada hi dharmasya kshayo briddhischa papmanah tada tu bhagavan isha atmanam srijate hari. Whenever the principles of religion deteriorate and the principles of irreligion increase, the supreme controller, the personality of Godhead Sri Hari, appears by his own will. So these are very, very wonderful purports, but I'll just go quickly because I want to highlight some things where I'll stop and make sure that you get the point. Then he's telling Nahi asya janmano hetu karmano va mahipate atma mayam vineshasya parasya drashtur atmanah. O King Maharaj Parikshit, but for the Lord's personal desire, there is no cause for his appearance, disappearance, or activities. As the super soul, he knows everything. Consequently, there is no cause that affects him, not even the results of fruitive activities. So before even beginning to speak why the Lord descended, even Sukadev Goswami is giving the context to Parikshit Maharaj. The Supreme Personality of Godhead acts through his material energy in the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of this cosmic manifestation just to deliver the living entity by his compassion and stop the living entity's birth, death, and duration of materialistic life. Thus, he enables the living being to return home back to Godhead. This is the first reason which Sukadev Goswami mentions why the Lord has to descend. He is not affected by the fruitive activities, by karma. He does not have to take birth for any reasons. He descends out of his own sweet will. And Sukadev Goswami is telling that he descends for a very particular reason. The Supreme Personality of Godhead acts through his material energy in the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of this cosmic manifestation just to deliver the living entity by his compassion and stop the living entity's birth, death, and duration of materialistic life. The only reason why the Lord descends is to deliver the people, the foolish people like all of us, who are conditioned to live in this material world, who think that this place is our eternal place of residence, to deliver us, to stop the living entity's birth, death, and duration of materialistic life. Thus, he enables the living being to return home back to God. I'll go again quickly. Beautiful verses. Although the demons who take possession of the government are dressed like men of government, they do not know the duty of the government. Consequently, by the arrangement of God, such demons who possess great military strength fight with one another, and thus the great burden of demons on the surface of the earth is reduced. The demons increase their military power by the will of the Supreme, so that their numbers will be diminished and the devotees will have a chance to advance in Krishna consciousness. One of the reasons why the Lord descends is he wants to annihilate the miscreants, the people who are demons. First, he gives them some strength so that their numbers increase. They will be there in the dress of the government, and when their numbers have increased, they are identified, then they'll be annihilated. This is what Sukadeva Goswami says. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, with the cooperation of Sankarshana, Balaram, performed activities beyond the mental comprehension of even such personalities as Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. For instance, Krishna arranged the battle of Kurukshetra to kill many demons for the relief of the entire world. Karmani aparimeyani manasapi sureshwaraihi sahasankarshanas chakre bhagavan madhusudana. Beautiful verse. Activities of the Lord are transcendental, cannot be even understood by great personalities like Brahma and Shiva. So you see, Sukadeva Goswami is building up. The first thing he told is that the Lord descends. The reason for his descent, he is not acted by the laws of material nature, laws of karma, nothing. He descends only to stop the repetition of birth and death of the conditioned living entities. How does he do that? There are some people who are miscreants. He just annihilates them and he takes care of the devotees. Then he's telling that he also comes along with Sankarshan, Balaram, and performs activities beyond the mental comprehension. And even such personalities as Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, they also can't understand why the Lord appears. And then he's telling this to show causeless mercy to the devotees who take birth in the future in this age of Kali. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna acted in such a way that simply by remembering him, one will be freed from all the lamentation and unhappiness of material existence. In other words, he acted so that all future devotees, that's all of us, by accepting the instructions of Krishna consciousness stated in Bhagavad Gita, could be relieved from the pangs of material existence. It's so beautiful it is. Kalau janishya mananam dukkha soka tamonudam anugrahaya bhaktanam supunyam vyatanot yasaha. Just to show causeless mercy to the devotees who take birth in the future in the age of Kali, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna acted in such a way that simply by remembering him, one will be freed from all the lamentation and unhappiness of material existence. Anugrahaya bhaktana dukkha soka tamomudam. Dukkha, lamentation. Soka, dukkha is grief. What is the translation of it? To minimize their unlimited unhappiness, dukkha. Soka is lamentation. And tamo is because of ignorance. Tamo nudam anugrahaya bhakta. Simply by receiving the glories of the Lord through purified transcendental years, the devotees of the Lord are immediately freed from strong material desires and engagement in fruitive activities. What are the symptoms of a conditioned living entities? Two things which Prabhupada is mentioning in this translation in this verse, Sukadeva Goswami is telling. Strong material desires and engagement in fruitive activities. Simply by receiving the glories of the Lord, just the glories of the Lord, through purified transcendental years, the devotees of the Lord are immediately freed from strong material. We are born with material desires. We have strong material desires. The purpose of hearing Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita or the beauty of Krishna's descent is just to come to this conclusion that I want to serve Krishna. I will try to serve Krishna. First time when we hear this, the first thing that comes to our mind, I will not do this. No rules and regulations. I will not follow. No matter how much a devotee is trying to say, why don't you read Bhagavad Gita? Why didn't you chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra? I will not do this. Then gradually, with some association of devotees that I will not do, maybe it will come, I cannot do. My situation is so bad. I'm in such a horrible situation, I cannot do. I want to do. There is a desire I want to do, but I cannot do. Then slowly, as he makes progress, he says, okay, I want to do. I want to do, but I don't know how to do. And then gradually it comes to a stage where he will say, I will try to do. I will try to do. Actually, if you see the initial disciples of Srila Prabhupada, who were all hippies, who had no understanding of what spiritual life is all about, what the holy names is, or what is the power of Krishna, Krishna's glories, they had no idea. They had just one desire. I will try to do this. I will try to satisfy my Guru Maharaj's instruction. I will try to follow. And that sincere attempt, I will try to do, brought them all glories. Shyam Sundar Prabhu, in one of his interviews for this Chasing the Rhinos, he was telling that, when Prabhupada took them all to India and he was given the responsibility of Cross Maidan, that Bombay Pandal program, to arrange huge crowd. So entire activities is given to you. Here people are running away. By chance, something will come to me better. Some corner I should take and go away. Only Sunday, this time to this time, Prabhu. कुछ है तो सर्विस उस टाइम पे दिखा तो मैं करूंगा. वो भी अगर लिखा है आपने मेरा नाम उसके अगेंस्ट में, हाँ, then otherwise मुझे कैसे पता चलेगा? We are going out. But actually, the devotees of the Lord, like the disciples, initial disciples of Srila Prabhupada, it was just given. But the difference was in their heart. I will try to do this. And how did this happen? This Cross Maidan program, Shyam Sundar Prabhu recollects that he was very scared because he doesn't know the local language. He used to speak to people who are in India. And that too, he was narrating an incident where he was driving the car in Kalwa Devi in Mumbai, very crowded place. And he was driving and he met with an accident. A person, he was crossing the road, he banged him and the fellow fell down there. Then he was telling that he had heard earlier, if somebody hits someone in the roads in India, that person will be stabbed to death or beaten to death. So he was very scared. He was not removing the glass. He's sitting in the car. He got to his bead bags and started chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. He thought, I'm gone. This is it. Suddenly he saw there's a large number of people who gathered there. That person is almost, wounded, blood is coming out. He's lying there, whatever, he's doing all kind of things people are seeing. Then all of a sudden he said that he started noticing that people have started beating him up. So then he thought maybe, they start with him, the person who has been hit first, then they'll come to me. So he's still Hare Krishna, he was doing. And then after some time, they're continuing to beat him. He gradually removed, he lowered the window and he asked a person who knew English, what's going on? Actually, the mistake was mine. No, you are a disciple. You are a disciple of Prabhupada. You are having Vaishnava attire. You are a devotee of Krishna. How this foolish person came on your way? He deserves to be beaten. So Shyam Sundar Prabhu says, just because I was wearing a Vaishnava dress, I was trying to please Prabhupada, I was saved. What if I sincerely try? The purpose of hearing this is, what is the reason Krishna descended? What is the purpose? What is it in it? What is in it for me? The thing is, I should come to this conclusion. I should try to serve Krishna fully. So here he's telling, simply by receiving the glories of the Lord through the purified transcendental years, the devotees of the Lord are immediately freed from strong material desires and engagement in fruitive activities. I'll come to this verse. This is one of the best verses of Bhagavatam. There are many such wonderful verses. Bhagavatam is filled with nectarian verses. This is one such verse. Yasyananam makara kundala charu karna bhrajat kapola subhagam savilasa hasam nityotsavam natatrupur drishibhir pibantyo naryo narascha mudita kupita nimescha. Yasyananam makara kundala charu karna bhrajat kapola subhagam savilasahasam nityotsavam na tatrupur drishibhir pibantyo naryo narascha mudita kupita nimescha. This verse is often quoted by Prabhupada. And this verse, before even Sukadev Goswami talks about how the Lord appeared, he is just telling how beautiful the Lord is. Yasyananam makara kundala charu karna. Yasyananam, the face of the Lord is so beautiful, so beautiful. Yasyanam, just looking at that face of the Lord, one gets all good fortune. And look at our bad fortune, we don't want to come. Jaldi jaldi yahan se nikal jana hai. Yasyananam makara kundala charu karna. Makara kundala, ananam, his face, makara kundala, his earrings are shark shaped. Makara kundala. Charu karna bhrajat kapola subhagam. And the forehead is so beautiful. Subhagam is again, it brings all opulences. Subhagam, just looking at the forehead. Bhrajat kapola subhagam savilasa hasam. And what to speak of the smile of the Lord. Savilasa hasam. Smiles of enjoyment. Sukadev Goswami is telling, Nityotsavam. Actually, it is an eternal festival. Whenever one sees him, he feels festive. Just the darshan of the Lord. It's a blessing for the eyes, for our senses, just to have beautifully decorated Lord, just to have darshan. Nityotsavam. It's a utsavam. Imagine we have an opportunity to have a festival every day, but we miss it for some reasons or other. Nityotsavam. Natatrupur drishivhir pibantyo. It is drinking through the eyes. Drishivhir pibantyo. This is drinking. This festival can be enjoyed by drinking through the eyes. Naryo narascha mudita. All these cowherd men and the gopis, Naryo and Naras cha mudita, they are just satisfied. Muditaha, completely satisfied. Kupita nimescha. However, the gopis, they curse Brahma. Kupita nimescha. Why did you give this eyelid? What is it? No, this one. Eyelids. Not eyelashes. Eyelids. Eyelids, why did you give? Because it comes in my way to have that beautiful darshan. Nityotsavam. I want to see the beautiful form of the Lord. Unfortunately, O creator, O secondary creator, O foolish creator, O rascal, you didn't know you have given this? It is creating an obstruction in my vision of the Lord. Krishna's face is decorated with ornaments, such as earrings resembling sharks. Actually, the ornaments, when it comes, it's not like the ornaments beautify Krishna. It is because Krishna is wearing those ornaments look even more beautiful. Krishna's face is decorated with ornaments such as earrings resembling sharks. His ears are beautiful, his cheeks brilliant, his smiling attractive to everyone. Whoever sees Lord Krishna sees a festival. His face and body are fully satisfying for everyone to see. But the devotee are angry at the creator for the disturbance caused by the momentary blinking of their eyes. So he's talking about this. Now these two verses comes where the entire Krishna Lila is summarized. You see, because as a compassionate speaker, he's thinking, now this fellow is sitting here in this position for so long, that not eating, not drinking, God knows what is his position. Let me quickly summarize Krishna's pastimes. So he's telling, beautiful verse, but anyway, I'll just read the translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, known as Leela Purushottama, appeared as the son of Vasudeva, but immediately left his father's home and went to Vrindavan. So he appeared as the son of Vasudeva in Mathura, we all know that. So he left his father's home and went to Vrindavan to expand his loving relationship with his confidential devotees. In Vrindavan, the Lord killed many demons, and afterwards he returned to Dwaraka. So he killed demons, he returned to Dwaraka, where according to Vedic principles, he married many wives who were the best of women, begot through them hundreds of sons, and performed sacrifices for his own worship to establish the principles of householder life. One verse started from his birth, Vasudeva, and then he went to Vrindavan, where he expanded his loving relationship with his confidential devotees. Then he killed many demons, went to Dwaraka, married many wives, performed sacrifices to establish religious principles of householder life. Then what happened? Thereafter, Lord Shri Krishna created a misunderstanding between family members just to diminish the burden of the world. Simply by his glance, he annihilated all the demoniac kings just by his glance. This war which Kurukshetra, the war of Kurukshetra, which is referred, it is not that Arjuna killed or Bhima killed. Just by his glance, he annihilated all the demoniac kings on the battlefield of Kurukshetra and declared victory for Arjuna. Finally, he instructed Uddhava about transcendental life and devotion, and then returned to his abode in his original form. Finished. Bhagavatam 10th canto. What do you want to hear? It's over. No, that's all it is. So he's telling, the verse was Jato gatah pitra grihat brajamedhi taraho hatva ripun suta sutani krito rudaraha utpadya teshu purushah kratubhi samaje atmanam atma nigamam prathayan janeshu. He took birth, then he was Leela Purushottam, then he had to be transported to a different place. He went to Vrindavan, he did wonderful loving pastimes, killed many demons, went to Dwarka, and then there, as per the Vedic principles, got married to many wives, performed sacrifices, begot sons, and then performed sacrifices for his own worship and to establish the principles of householder life. Then he went back and killed all the impious kings, annihilated them, and then declared victory for Arjuna. Finally, he instructed Uddhava, and then he went back to his abode. 9th canto gets over with this. This is where the turning point is. What is it that Parikshit says that makes Sukadev Goswami speaks in 90 chapters of Bhagavatam? That is why the important thing is, in the 10th canto, 1st chapter, what are the qualifications as a hearer, as a recipient? Krishna message is not attractive to everyone. Unfortunate situation, because there is a rebelliousness within, materialistic desires, there is desire to perform fruitive activities, there is sinful nature, there is offenses against the Vaishnavas, there is offenses, so many such things are there. So the heart is not prepared, Krishna will not manifest. What is it that Parikshit Maharaj does? Beautiful. Actually, the 1st chapter of Bhagavatam, if you read 10th canto, 1st chapter, you'll feel so happy, so joyful. Just the 1st chapter. It has got some 30-40 verses, but beautiful verses and beautiful purports. Let's see a few things which we can cover in this small time that we have, but I would request you read this. Actually, wonderful. First thing which Parikshit Maharaj is telling, as soon as he heard that he has finished, Sukadev Goswami, Sri Raja Uvacho, Parikshit, Kathito Vamsa Vistaro Bhavata Soma Suryaho Ragyam Cho Bhaya Vamsyanam Charitam Pramada Adbhutam. So he's telling, King Parikshit said, my dear Lord, you have elaborately described the dynasties of both the moon god and the sun god with the exalted and wonderful character of their kings. You have done that. First he has to tell, no, Navaya, tumne jo bola hai, sab theek hai, acha bola hai. But wait. So here, O best of the Munis, you have also described the descendants of Yadu, who were very pious and strictly adherent to religious principles. Now, if you will kindly describe the wonderful, glorious activities of Lord Vishnu or Krishna, who appeared in that Yadu dynasty with Baladev, his plenary expansion. So he's using the word, what is that? Viryani. So Muni Sattama, oh, you are the best of the Munis. You have so wonderfully described the pious kings of moon and sun dynasty. Could you please explain the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his plenary expansion, Baladev, how they descended and what wonderful transcendental activities they performed? And then the 3rd verse, he says, the super soul, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, the cause of the cosmic manifestation, appeared in the dynasty of Yadu. Please tell me elaborately about his glorious activities and character from the beginning to the end of his life. Kritavan yani viswatma tani na vada bistarat. From beginning and end. Don't go like this. Don't finish it. I want to understand. And see the beauty. Then our famous verse. Nivritta tarshayar upagiyamanat bhavo sudhat chotra manobhiramat ka uttama shloka gunanuvadat puman virajyeta vinapasutnat. Nivritta tarshayar. Tarshayar is Trishna, is that hankering. Nivritta tarshayar upagiyamanat. A person whose hankering for material things has completely ceased. Nivritta tarshayar upagiyam. This Krishna Katha is a tonic Nivritta Tarshai Rupagyam. What if I have not, my materialistic desires, material activities has not stopped? Bhavausudha. This is actually a Bhavausudha for the material disease that we are suffering, Bhavaroga, which is so deeply rooted. The disease is not easy to go. It is so hard to get rid of. It has inflicted our heart and our chitta. Bhavausudha Chotra Manobhirama. So you can take this as a medicine. This Krishna Katha is a medicine. What if this medicine is bitter? No. Manobhirama. Sotra Manobhirama. You have to hear the process of taking this medicine is through ears, and it is Mano Abhirama. It's very wonderful. It's so pleasing. Manobhirama. Ka Uttama Shloka Gunanuvada. Oh, this wonderful glories of the Lord's activities. Uttama Shloka Gunanuvada. Kuman Virajyeta Vina Pasubhnat. Only a person who is killer of his own soul, or who's a Pasubhnat, who's a butcher. Pasubhnat Prabhupada translates either a butcher or one who's killing his own personal existence, will not be interested in hearing this. So this verse is spoken by Parikshit, and then he says further, this is wonderful purport actually, Prabhupada. Then he's telling 6 reasons how the Lord has helped him, how the Lord was so mercifully in his life. This verse so wonderfully. Actually, you can't just go away just like that in 2 verses. That Lord, who forget about other living entities, in my own life, he has helped me in 6 different ways. So what are those 6 different ways he's telling? So, taking the boat of Krishna's lotus feet. So first thing he's telling, actually, I am not a deserving person to get this mercy. My grandfather Arjuna, he was actually an associate of Krishna. He took the boat of the lotus feet of Krishna. Taking the boat of Krishna's lotus feet, my grandfather Arjuna and others crossed the ocean of the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Imagine there is an ocean of battlefield, and it's a boat that you are seated in that, and that boat is going, and there are Timingalas who are attacking that boat. In which such commanders as Bhisma Dev resembled great fish that could very easily have swallowed them. So Bhisma Dev, there are so many such Timingalas who are there in that ocean. But by the mercy of Lord Krishna, my grandfathers crossed this ocean, which was very difficult to cross, as easily as one steps over the hoof print of calf. So this hoof print of a calf keeps coming in Bhagavatam in many, many places. This is one such. Because my mother, the second one, because my mother surrendered unto Lord Krishna's lotus feet, the Lord Sudarshan Chakra in hand entered her womb and saved my body, the body of the last remaining descendant of the Kurus and Pandavas, second one, which was almost destroyed by the fiery weapon of Aswatthama. Lord Shri Krishna appearing within and outside of all materially embodied living beings by his own potency in the forms of eternal time, that is as Paramatma, as Viratarup, gave liberation to everyone, either as cruel death or as life. Kindly enlighten me by describing his transcendental characteristics. Again, he's repeating, kindly, he's not just about Lord about somebody else. In my own life, because I'm the descendant of my great grandfather, not great grandfather, my grandfather who's great, Arjuna, who crossed this ocean of battlefield. I'm his grandson, and I also got saved in the womb of my mother because of him. So I want to hear the transcendental activities of him, transcendental characteristics. Then specifically he's asking few questions. How did Balaram, who took birth in the womb of Devaki, got transferred to Rohini? Kindly explain this to me. Then he's telling, why did Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, leave the house of his father Vasudeva and transfer himself to the house of Nanda in Vrindavan? Where did the Lord, the master of the Yadu dynasty, live with his relatives in Vrindavan? So he just wants to know everything. How can you just quickly finish? Okay, he took birth, he went and got transferred, then he did wonderful pastimes, and then he killed demons, then he went to Dwarka. You can't. So he's asking more questions. And then, very interestingly, one thing which Parikshit Maharaj is asking is a very important thing for us to remember. This is verse number 12 of 10th canto, first chapter. O great says, who know everything about Krishna, please describe in detail all the activities of which I have inquired and also those of which I have not. For I have full faith and I am very eager to hear of them. Etad anyaccha sarvam me mune Krishna vicheshtitam vaktum arhasi sarvagya shraddhadanaya vistratam. Vistratam, in full details. So he's telling, I have asked you a few questions. I just don't want answers for those questions. I want answers of those questions. Plus, I also want to know the answers of those questions which I have not asked. Who know everything about Krishna, please describe in detail the activities of which I have inquired and also those of which I have not. For I have full faith, Shraddha Dhanaya, and I'm very eager to hear of them. One of the great qualities, one of the prerequisites to have Krishna in our heart is to have the eagerness to know about it. Like Sukadev Goswami is telling that, sorry, Parikshit is telling, I have full faith in you. I want to know them in Vistaram, in great length. Don't tell me in short. And I also want to know about the answers to those questions which I have not asked, because you are Sarvagya. You know everything. Then in the 13th verse, actually this is a beautiful verse. Naisati dussaha shunma tyoktodam abhibadhate pivantam tvan mukham bhoja chutam harikathamrata. Because of my vow on the verge of death, I have given up even drinking water. Yet, because I am drinking the nectar of topics about Krishna, which is flowing from the lotus mouth of your Lordship, my hunger and thirst, which are extremely difficult to bear, cannot hinder me. He's not drinking, he's not sleeping, he's not eating. Yet he's fully pibantam tvan mukham bhoja chutam harikathamratam. We sit here, we feel sleepy. You see, our conditioned living entities, precarious situation is so horrible. We want to chant, that time we'll feel sleepy. We are sitting here for half an hour, 45 minutes, we'll feel sleepy. And when we go out, we wonder, why I could not chant properly? Why my consciousness is not changing? But unfortunately, when we are supposed to be attentive, we are not. And when we are not supposed to be attentive, we are fully attentive. We want to do all materialistic things very, very attentively. And when it comes to Krishna consciousness, there is no attention. That is what we were seeing, that verse of Bhagavatam in the Sunday class. Hearing with attention, with rapt attention. As I was mentioning, it is not just Parikshit, even the sages who have assembled there. Has taken a vow on the verge of death that I've given up everything, even drinking water. Yet because I'm drinking the nectar of topics about Krishna, which is flowing from the lotus mouth of your Lordship, my hunger and thirst, which are extremely difficult to bear, cannot hinder me. Then he says, Evam nisamya bhrigunandana sadhuvadam Vaiyasaki sa bhagavan atha vishnu-ratam pratyarcha krishna charitam kalikalma sagnam vyahartum arbhata bhagavata pradhana. Beautiful translation. Sutta Goswami, now he is telling, O son of Bhrigu, after Sukadev Goswami, the most respectable devotee, the son of Vyasadev, heard the pious questions of Maharaj Parikshit, he thanked the king with great respect. Then he began to discourse on topics concerning Krishna, which are the remedy for all sufferings in this age of Kali. Which are the remedy for all the sufferings in this stage of Kali. People are looking for solution. People are asking, I'm frustrated, I'm tired, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. They come, they get slaps, but they don't want to take the process. Hearing about, then he began to discourse on topics concerning Krishna, which are the remedy for all sufferings in this age of Kali. Shri Sukadev Goswami said, "Oh, your majesty, best of all saintly kings, because you are greatly attracted to topics of Vasudeva, it is certain that your intelligence is firmly fixed in spiritual understanding." Our intelligence needs to be fixed in spiritual understanding. Otherwise, whenever we are supposed to be here, we will be outside doing something. When we are not supposed to be there, we will be there doing something else. The priorities in life will look blurred. I will think, maybe chanting time I should sleep, I should take rest. Hearing time I should be absent doing something else more important as per my understanding. He's telling, best of all saintly kings, because you are greatly attracted to topics of Vasudeva, it is certain that your intelligence is firmly fixed in spiritual understanding. which is the only true goal for humanity, because that attraction is unceasing. It is certainly sublime, which is the only true goal for humanity. If we can develop an attraction for hearing, if I understand that this is the only thing which is meant to purify me, if this transcendental narration of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I can only pay attention, this is the remedy for all the sufferings. Then Sukadeva Goswami says, actually, this Vasudev Katha helps three kinds of people. Vasudeva Katha Prashnaha, Purusam Strin Punatihi, Bhaktaram, Prichakam, Shrotram, Tatpada Salilam Yatha. Vasudev Katha, whenever there is a discussion of Vasudev Katha which is going on, it Punati Purusham Strin Hi. Punati is purifies three kinds of people. Who? Bhaktaram. Mataji, who's Bhaktaram? Bhaktaram kaun hai? Speaker, who's speaking. Bhaktaram, Prichakam, who's asking a question, and Shrotrams, and who's hearing, just hearing. Bhaktaram, Prichakam, Shrotrams. Tatpada Salilam Yatha. Like Ganges, which is coming from the lotus feet of the Lord, purifies the three worlds, the topmost planetary system, the middle planetary system, and the bottom planetary system. The Ganges emanating from the toe of Lord Vishnu purifies the three worlds, the upper, middle, the lower planetary systems. Similarly, when one asks questions about the pastimes and characteristics of Lord Vasudeva, Krishna, three varieties of men are purified: the speaker or preacher, he who inquires, and the people in general who listen. Who are the three kinds of people? Okay, having said all these things, I told you the context. I also told you how Parikshit Maharaj was so eager to hear. He didn't want to rush through. He asked questions. He also asked, please answer me. Please give me answer to those questions which I have not asked. And then he told, and Sukadeva Goswami thanked him for those questions. And he told how those three kinds of people who get purified by Harikatha. Sukadeva Goswami begins to speak. How did Lord Krishna appear? Bhumir Dripta Nripa Vyaja Daityanika Satya Satayutehi Akranta Bhuribharena Brahmanam Saranam Yayau. Bhumir Dripta Nripa Vyaja. So what happened once, Mother Earth? So the context, it is shown from the viewpoint of Mother Earth. Mother Earth was overburdened. Bhuri Bharena. When Mother Earth was overburdened by hundreds of thousands of military phalanxes of various conceited demons dressed like kings, she approached Lord Brahma for relief. Whom did she approach? Who's Lord Brahma? Why did she appear Lord Brahma? Approach Lord Brahma. She didn't know. She cannot go to Krishna directly. Her jurisdiction of reaching is only till Brahma. Brahma is the topmost of Brahmaloka. So she approached to Brahma, saying that I'm overburdened. Overburdened not by the people in this world, but by the conceited demons dressed like kings. Because of their impious activities, because of their sinful activities, I'm feeling this burden. So she is feeling, so she goes to Brahma, please give me some relief. Now, can Brahma give relief? No. Brahma doesn't have that power. So what did Brahma do? So thereafter, having heard of the distress of Mother Earth, Lord Brahma, with Mother Earth, Lord Shiva, and all the other demigods, approached the shore of the ocean of milk, Kshirosagar. So they go there on the shore. They can't also enter. On the shore, it's like on the shore, they are there, they're all standing. Brahma also took Shiva. Somewhere I heard, actually Prabhupada is saying, Brahma was thinking if Lord Vishnu I'm not able to approach, at least Shiva is there, he'll destroy. So I'll tell Shiva, please take care. open your third eye or whatever it is. It's there somewhere. So Lord Indra, all demigods, then Mother Earth, they go and they are there and the shores, and Brahma started chanting Purusha Sukta. What is Purusha Sukta? Go. So he's chanted Purusha Sukta. When he chanted Purusha Sukta, so he's telling with great attention, they worship Lord Vishnu, who lies on the ocean of milk, by reciting the Vedic mantras known as the Purusha Sukta. Lord Vishnu didn't reveal it to everyone. He only revealed the plan to Brahma. And this is where one of the very interesting point lies. And probably with that point we'll close. While in trance, Lord Brahma heard the words of Lord Vishnu vibrating in the sky. Thus he told the demigods, O demigods, hear from me the order of Kshirodakashayi Vishnu, the Supreme Person, and execute it attentively without delay. What did he say? Kya bola Madhuji? Yeah. Yes. Hear from me attentively instructions of Kshirodakashayi Vishnu and execute it without delay. So they are all eagerly waiting because nobody else knows what happened. He just chanted Purusha Sukta and this is revealed to his heart. Now he's telling, hear attentively what I heard and execute it without delay. So execution, actually the whole key of our spiritual life, the whole secret of spiritual life lies in executing the order of our authority. That's what it is. There is no secret. Take the example of Priyavrata, who didn't want to marry. But when Brahma came, he knew that marriage is not necessary and it's an additional burden. He didn't want to get into Grihastha Ashram. But Brahma convinced him and he took it. Take the example of Prithu Maharaj, who wanted to perform 100 sacrifices. But when Lord personally appeared, Brahma appeared and he told, what is the point doing this 100 sacrifices? Even he was not at fault. He agreed. He followed the instructions of his authority. If we do things independently, if we think we are in control of our own life, we don't need to consult anyone. We don't need to follow our authorities' orders. That is the biggest illusion of life. Biggest illusion. Spiritual advancement cannot happen. So that's why he's telling, hear attentively and execute without delay. Then he's telling, while in trance, Lord Brahma heard the words of Lord Vishnu vibrating in the sky. Thus he told the demigods, O demigods, hear from me the order of Kshirodakashayi Vishnu, the Supreme. I just read this. Text 22. This is the secret. I have highlighted one word. If you can tell me what is the secret, you'll get special prasadam from Badri Prabhu. Uraiva pumsa vadhrito dharajvaro bhavadbhir amsher yaduspajanyataam sayavad urvya bharama iswareshwaraha swakala saktya kshapayams charet bhuvi. Let's read the translation. Lord Brahma informed the demigods, before we submitted our petition to the Lord, he was already aware of the distress on earth. Consequently, for as long as the Lord moves on earth to diminish its burden by his own potency in the form of time, all of you demigods should appear through plenary portions as sons and grandsons in the family of the Yadus. Okay, you heard? See again. Lord Brahma informed the demigods. And the demigods are there. Where are they? Okay. Along with Lord Brahma and Shiva. And who is there on this side of the sword? Lord Brahma, Shiva, the demigods, Mother Earth. Lord Brahma informed the demigods, before we submitted our petition to the Lord, he was already aware of the distress on earth. Because he's the Lord. It's not that he doesn't know. He was already aware. Consequently, for as long as the Lord moves on earth to diminish its burden by his own potency in the form of time, so before the Lord actually descends or appears, to remove the burden of Mother Earth, all of you demigods should appear through plenary portions as sons and grandsons in the family of the Yadus. Did you hear it? You heard? क्या सुना? Huh? Okay. What did you understand? This is the instruction which Brahma is giving it to them. Yeah. But it's also mentioning before he appears and the demigod should appear as their son and friend. Okay, माता जी तुम बोलिए सेम तो है, सब तो सेम ही है लाइफ में. दो लोग बोल चुके हैं. You don't get the chance to see.
Already aware of their distance and here obviously the form of time, but we might be telling the demigods to take birth the sons and grandsons in the family.
Okay, very good. The second part that you told as potency of time, what did you say? There's some. He'll appear in due course of time. It will take some time to annihilate the demons or to reduce the burden. In the meantime, you appear as sons and grandsons. Repeat. Lord is aware of everything. Hey, don't add. There's no plenary portion there. You appear as sons and grandsons in the Yadu dynasty. That's all it is. Is there? All of you demigods should appear through plenary portions. I take back my words. Plenary portions as sons and grandsons in the family of the Yadus. Good. Okay. Good. So the one thing that you missed was before you submitted, when the petition was submitted, he was aware of it. Then he said all those things that you told. Actually, in this verse, why I asked you to repeat this, the purport to this verse, it's not in this verse, the commentary by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He specifically points out the word bhavatbhi. Pureva pumsa vardhuto dhara jvara bhavatbhir amser yaduspajanyata. So bhavatbhir, actually, Lord, Kshirodaksha Vishnu told all of them to appear as the sons or the grandsons of Yadu dynasty so that they can prepare for the Lord's descent. So they are there, and then the Lord will descend, and then he'll reduce the burden on Mother Earth. Dhara jvara, jvara, the fever of dhara, the distress on the earth will be reduced by the Lord. What Brahma did here was. So whom Brahma is telling this? All of you. Lord told all of you appear. So Lord is going to appear. All of you are going to appear. Who's missing in this? Brahma is missing. Actually, the Acharyas point out, when Lord told all of you, it was meant for all of you, including Brahma. But when Brahma was passing on this instruction, he told all of you, excluding him. And that is one of the reasons why in 13th and 14th chapter of Bhagavatam 10th canto, Brahma Vimohan Leela happens. He forgot who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, what is going on. And he was, he had to come down, understand the real position and ask for forgiveness. And then the Lord, tells him who he is. One of the most important thing in life also, there is an opportunity for devotional service comes in our life. Opportunity to hear, opportunity to participate. It doesn't come with one great this thing. आ रहा हूँ, service है, drum बजा के कोई नहीं आता है. ले लो. It comes very quietly. But a person who thinks himself very intelligent that I will not do this. मैं आऊंगा तो शायद मेरे को बोल देंगे क्या? मैं चुप के रह जाता हूँ. Like Brahma did. Bhavatbhir amsher yaduspajanyata. I'll go attend some party somewhere. I'll do something. बच गया मैं. Service नहीं मिला. Who's the loser? Brahma was the loser. He was put into that situation of bewilderment. Life doesn't give us many opportunities like this. It's if we don't grab these opportunities, as I said, if I will try to do, that is the most important thing of hearing Krishna Katha. That is the most, okay, I have problems, I have things, situation, whatever I am in, whichever situation, let me try. I will try to be engaged in Krishna's service. I will try. If I think I'll be so smart and intelligent, I will do activities in such a way, nobody in this world will know that I was not present. I will try to manipulate things in a manner. I'm very intelligent. I can manipulate lots of things. And I'll show them that, I did something. Actually, what we will do? We will go and sleep, or we will do some Gramya Gatha. We will do some Prajalpa, or be in the service of Maya. To get an opportunity to serve Krishna is not easy. Brahma missed it. And the miss was a costly miss. If somebody who's at a senior position, if he does a mistake, actually that mistake is taken very, very serious. That doesn't mean that a person who is in an inferior position, Krishna didn't forgive him so easily. Indra was forgiven so easily, but not Brahma. So Bhavadbhir amser yaduspajanyata. So like that in our life, when we want Krishna to appear in our heart, when we want Krishna to manifest in our heart, so many things to learn from this example of Parikshit Maharaj. So many things to learn from this first chapter of Bhagavad, which beautifully describes. I could not even go to how the Lord, when he appears, what happens? My God, you should. When really the Lord appears in the heart, actually the Lord, when he appeared, it is mentioned in the appearance of Lord. Before, after this, there is Garvastuti. Why the demigods come to pray the Lord? When Hiranyakashipu was about to get killed, Lord Narasimhadev appeared from a pillar. And the form was so ferocious. It was so scary, the demigods were also scared to look at that form of the Lord. Whereas when the Lord appeared as Shyamasundar, as Krishna, of course he appeared as 400 Vishnu form. They were, before that, even the demigods are coming and praying to the womb of Devaki, because Devaki was so effulgent. And what wonderful prayers they are. Then the Lord appears, and when the Lord appears, what happens to those environment? What the transformation happens when the Lord appears? We will see that some other time. But what I'm trying to say is, when we try to act independently, intelligently, thinking materially, we are very intelligent, competent. I can fool everyone, and I'll do whatever I want to. We get fooled, we get cheated, we get into trouble. So I will conclude. I have already exceeded the time. Thank you for attending this special session on Krishna Janmashtami, Harikatha. What we will do now is we have Vikasji. We have Vikasji. Did you submit your entry today? Hare Krishna. No. You missed it. Did you read?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Could you read the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita?
No, Prabhuji.